Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's town board meeting for the town of Canandaigua. Welcome, all of you. At this time, I'll declare the meeting call the meeting to order. And we'll begin with a pledge of allegiance led by Councilman Terrence Fennell.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Jared, can you confirm that the meeting was properly advertised?
Yes, it was.
All right, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Councilmember John Casey.
Happily here.
Councilmember Terrence Fennelly.
Equally happy.
Deputy Supervisor Adeline Rudolph. Present. Councilmember David Sauter.
Present.
Supervisor Jared Simpson.
Here. All right, thank you very much. We have written communications that are in the most recent written communications are located in the communications binder and an attachment 1 of your agenda. We do have our first privilege of the floor to start out. Is there anyone who would like to be heard at this time? I would invite anybody in the room or anybody online who would like to be heard. All right, seeing no hands, we will continue to priority business, which of course is birthdays. Birthdays for this cycle are Kyle Fenner, Corinne Hatch, Shannon Chevier, Edith Davey, Jonathan Noble, Austin Minster, Emma Depew, Amanda Kolf, and Ken Brockett. So a happy birthday to all of those employees. At this time, we have a presentation, and this resolution was passed a while ago. But we're finally, golf season is over for the most part. And we're finally able to get the Schneiders in with us, who are owners of the William Gorham House. In this presentation tonight, they've done a lot of work. I'll come over here, I guess. We'll come over here. And they've done a lot of work behind the scenes. They have done a lot of digging and research. You've had when our town historian decides to hang things up, I know who we want to have as our next town historian, co-town historians. But the William Gorham House, and I'll read a few things on this. Whereas the town of Canandaigua has a rich history and deep ties to the past, and Dr. Jennifer L. Schneider and Tim Schneider have shown outstanding dedication and stewardship in preserving their home, the William Gorham House, a treasured part of Canandaigua's architectural and cultural history, which has been officially placed on the National Register of Historic Places. And we thank you in the town of Canandaigua. We would not be able to preserve all of these properties. We would not be able to preserve all of these homes. Thank you for being stewards of the community and for having such love and care for the community. So at this time, I'll present this presentation. I'm going to give it to the boss. Thank you very much. Congrats.
We would like to recognize everyone that helped put this application together and made this success, including everyone here and the town that supported this application. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we do have a continued public hearing. The conditional approval of incentive zoning for Uptown Landing. As this continued public hearing is continued, we don't need to declare a new one open. So at this time, if there's anybody who would like to be heard as part of the Uptown Landing public hearing, they're invited to come forward. I know that we have Matt and Jeff here with some information for us. So if you guys, I don't know if it's Matt running the show or if you're going to be.
As always, Matt's running.
Matt, I should know, yeah. So Matt, I guess I'll let you lead into any ideas or comments that you have, and then we'll open it up to questions from the board, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Great. Thank you so much, Matt Tomlinson, Marathon Engineering. And I heard Jeff's voice, so I know he's there. That's great. We also have Steve Cullum from Hanlon Architects, who's the project architect on via Zoom as well. Obviously, this board has heard me present this project quite a bit over the last couple months, and we really appreciate the collaborative effort from various members of the town as well as the various boards. So just a quick overview of the project, as I know the board is familiar, but we're proposing 630 units on 100 acres for the Uptown Landing project within the mixed use. We are requesting an incentive zoning approval for several incentives that we've requested the board to grant with the provision of several amenities. And those amenities, I believe, are captured in the draft resolution that we've had an opportunity to review. We've also had an opportunity to review the provided draft parts 2 and part 3 for seeker, as well as the planning board review and report that was provided to you folks since we were last before you. We did receive, I believe, the comments from county planning, which did not have anything substantive as it related to the impacts of the project that we were made aware of. And there were just a couple of items that I wanted to touch on before turning it over to the board for the board's consideration. The first is in the planning board's report, there was a request for some consideration of additional open space within the single family homes. And the development team, after reviewing that, we are amenable and understand that the planning board has some leeway, obviously, in modifications that they would like to the site plan to address planning board comments and site design specifics that we will be getting into much more detail in the next couple of months. So what we'd like to request the town board's consideration is that the language of the resolution be such that it preserves the 630 units overall that we're asking for, but with the understanding that we may move a few units into the mixed use building, for example, to preserve that total number of units if we have to lose or move around some of the townhome and single family or apartment units as a whole in order to satisfy some of the planning board comments that we anticipate. So that's the first one. And then secondly, in reading through the amenities that are being offered specific to the playground, because there isn't a defined playground design within Blue Heron Park, we wanted to make sure that there was an understanding that the contribution from the developer would be at the stated $65,000 for that. Obviously, with input from Parks and Rec and other folks, that has the potential to grow in the future, and we just wanted to make sure that that was captured clearly within the zoning so that there wasn't a question down the road. So with that, you know, again, we've reviewed an awful lot of information with the board. I think we've addressed comments and heard from all of the contributing players here, but wanted to, again, attend by Zoom, give that brief overview or update since the last time we were there, and thank the board for their consideration for action tonight on it.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. Any board members like to be heard or like a chance to comment on this?
I have some comments, but I can do it now or later, or if you want the public to chat.
Let's talk and see if we have anything, so then we can get the public hearing part of the discussion prior, rather than wait until, you know, it is in the beginning of the amendments and the resolutions anyway, but let's go ahead and do now if we have any.
Okay, I think I've made it clear that I support the project as a whole. I'm glad to hear your noting of some of the comments. I just wanted to also bring up a couple more comments that I noticed from both the Ag Committee and the County Planning Board, which had indicated concern about a vegetative buffer between the development and the agriculture areas to the north, and the impact that could have on agricultural activities. So I was just wondering if you had any thoughts about how to address that.
Matt, I'm standing up.
Yeah, Matt, he's standing up and wants you to go.
Either one, you're welcome to.
Go for Matt.
We do anticipate that the single home builder will be supplementing or providing some plantings along the edge there as part of, as they sell those. That Jeff is partnering with a home builder to build those single homes or selling the lots to them, and they are very aware of you know, constraints or concerns that their buyers may have. So I do not anticipate any issues with that. And typically the home buyer ends up being the one that installs the fencing or supplements the landscaping on an individual basis, but we don't have a significant concern with that comment.
And I think that would be, I think it's a good comment, and I think it would be adequately addressed at site plan approval.
And the other might also be addressed in site plan approval. I'm glad that you're amenable to some potential changes in some public open space. The ECB did also bring up a good point of, for those residents that might be living in the multifamily or the townhomes, the possibility of having a dog walk area as well. I don't know if there's been any consideration given to that.
We're still working through some of the amenities that will be offered, especially to the apartment and mixed use buildings, but that definitely has been part of the discussion, and we'll continue to flesh those out.
And then the final thing that the ECB also mentioned is dark sky compliant lighting. So I think that's probably something you're considering, but I would strongly encourage you to consider that as well.
Of course.
Yes, we definitely are. Mr. Fletcher actually provided us a light example that was recently installed along Route 332 for some consistency through the dedicated roadway system and intersection lighting. So I anticipate that we'll have no problem meeting that suggestion.
Great. Thank you. Those are my questions.
Any other questions or comments? Perry, do you-
There was a, in the discussion about the incentives and amenities, there was a lot that was supposed to be left empty at the northern end of the development. And
For
it
future
had value $80,000 a site, but you felt that it wasn't necessary to do that, or there was a comment in the
Was that for the road?
Discussion.
Was that for a future connector?
proposed connector, yeah.
We made that change.
I'm sorry, I don't recall the conversation.
So that was a comment from the planning board, that a lot should be left open.
Yeah, his comment was it's not necessary.
His comment was,
My
I
way.
think,
Um,
in conjunction, I think it can be addressed at planning, at site plan approval.
Oh,
That's,
yeah, I'm not questioning that part, it's just that the value of the amenities is that
it's not
828,748.
correct, and I
Felt
think
that lot,
if we
so.
put up the resolution, this is go to
And I believe that Mr.
It's not reflected in the amenities being provided. And if we go to the findings all the way back to the bottom, exhibit F. Let's just confirm that we didn't include it there. The second, the third, the last page. Right there.
Well, it was listed in the this latest package here with page 24.
That's correct, but it's
Yes.
not in the amenities that you're approving or accepting, I guess. And
I can't see the total because these had
$753.
753.2. Does that match?
close,
Close.
said 5,000. One other thing, just a comment, and that is that over the past few weeks, we have with the city of Canandaigua and the Chamber of Commerce, we have what's called CLDC, the Canandaigua Local Development Corporation. It's aimed at improving the overall economic atmosphere in the area. And at our last meeting, the guy from the county, Ryan Davis, the economic development guy, was talking about a presentation he sat in on recently that RG&E, there's a group from RG&E talking to people in the Monroe County, Ontario County, Wayne County area, that they did not have power available for any large scale residential development. Now, a year ago, we had a representative in from RG&E who told us that for any commercial development, it's very iffy whether they could provide enough power if it was a substantial operation. I was just curious if you've had anything from RG&E that put a limit what you're able to do? Or are you getting encouragement from them to proceed?
It certainly hasn't been encouraging. We're just trying to get our load sheets in and get our will serve letters as soon as possible from RG&E. some of it, I think they're trying to just to limit things going forward. We know that the governor wants to reduce gas usage and increase electric usage, so I'm not sure how that's gonna play out. But we just want to get our applications in as soon as possible.
Well, it was interesting because the marketing guy last year from RG&E said, no problem with residential. The group that this fellow was telling us about, this group of engineers that do the actual layout and the distribution of power, saying that there are real limits. Well, don't look for anything from us, so. I mean, it's a very confusing situation at best. So I was just curious whether there's any,
No, something we're certainly thinking about it and talking about it every day, so.
no, okay,
Jeff, there's currently some state grants available for alternative energy sources. If you're considering anything geothermal or anything like that, there's some really significant state
Okay.
grants open right now to developers that are building homes.
Okay.
So might be worth checking into.
Good, okay, we will, thank you.
you did have one other thing, and that is conversation you and I had, Chad, about extending the sidewalk. Have you had any discussions at all with Mr. Cook or the Marathon about the,
The extension all the way to 28.
you know, you had,
That was when we were initially meeting about what we were gonna go back to the amenities. And so, I don't know what the conversation was. I don't think we put it in there for. It's not in there.
I don't think it was.
I
At
think
least the last time we talked about it.
Yeah.
I think the math works out without it in there. So.
Cause if,
Yeah, and if I could, the piece of sidewalk that was added was the 415 feet along the school district property between our development and the park to provide that link out to 332.
Is that what you were talking about? What you were talking about?
Well, we were filling that in the discussion where we were gonna potentially try to go all the way to 28.
Yeah.
But I think it was the cost and the math and all that not.
yeah, the problem is with that, I mean, based on, cause from the beginning, you guys, Marathon's been very upfront, Jeff's been very upfront with what that amenity amount, that ballpark. So if we did want to require that, then it might strip back some of the others on that amount, and that, because it's that 750-ish ballpark from day one, from the very beginning. That's kind of where that ballpark was.
Just curious.
Anything else? John, did you have anything?
I don't.
Okay.
Other than the, I support the project, I think the community is asking for it, and I look forward to voting on it on the incentives this evening.
Want to talk about some of the changes?
Yeah, I do have a couple things. So, I have no problem with the lots, and I know we had discussed this.
Yep.
With the lots moving to the mixed use area to keep your numbers
Yep.
kind of to create that open green space.
Change the 91 to
Yeah.
5, yep.
To allow for some of that. If one question I did have, and it's the same one I brought up to you earlier, the cap on the $65,000 towards parks. I just wanted to have that discussion board wise to make sure that we're gonna be okay with that and not having something that then we're gonna have to come in and maybe fill a void to get us from 65 up to where that number we're gonna
Playground.
for the playground, yeah.
But do we know that?
We don't know the
Right,
number.
We don't.
Who's
Yeah.
installing the playground? That would be my question, because you can install it a lot cheaper than we can.
So the amenities agreement that we've prepared as exhibit C specifies that after the applicant will prepare drawings, prepare a plan, work with the Parks and Recreation committee, and then install it.
They would install. it.
Yes.
Okay.
The
That helps a lot.
contemplation, the way it's contemplated right now is that we'll install it for whatever the price may be. If they can buy it for less than 65,000, great.
Right.
If it's more, that's on the developer. My understanding is the
And they're
developer's asking.
They want a cap, they'd like a cap on the 65 number.
When does the installation actually occur?
it has, all amenities will have to be completed and accepted by the town prior to the issuance of any certificates of occupancy. So the developer can be building, for example, an apartment building, and at the same time installing sidewalk around Parkside Drive and playground equipment. But they have to get the sidewalks installed, park amenities completed before they can use the apartment building for occupancy.
So I just wanted to, everybody's, as long as they're, I'm okay with the 65. I just wanted to make sure others are okay. And it kind of gives that flexibility, it gives that flexibility if you guys are doing it. There are some, like the details we talked about, some details that we just need to figure out that might not need to be in there. As far as the construction to help with the overall cost of it. So I just want to make sure that we're aware that that was one of the changes in there.
Not having any idea where.
It's hard, it's really, we're shooting in the dark because we don't know when and we don't know what, but that gives us a top line.
I think we spent about $100,000 replacing the mulch at the pirate ship playground. So.
I don't think it was
22.
Yeah, I think that's the first number we were told, 100, but it was a lot less than
And I
that.
was 22.
Yeah,
It was second pirate.
How many square feet is that?
25,000, right?
Oh, no.
50 by 50. 50 by 50, oh, it's not huge, maybe 50 by 80.
Okay.
So Jeff, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't look into it too deeply, the price tag for the piece of playground equipment is 65,000.
Correct,
So
right
that-
around there, yeah,
So that wouldn't include the site work and the pad.
correct, yeah.
So the town would be incurring that cost, the site plan, the site work and the pad.
Is that something that we would have the potential to do in-house?
To.
site work and pad for the playground
We
piece.
can certainly do site work, that's, easy enough to do.
Okay.
And subcontracting the pad would be,
Like we say pad, just put rubber mulch down.
It
wouldn't be cement underneath the playground,
No,
right, so it's gonna be
cushion
some kind of,
mulch of
right,
some sort, right?
yeah, sidewalk would be the footings for whatever. they
But,
put in.
well, if they have a layout,
Right.
we can certainly put the holes in the ground.
Okay.
That's okay, easy to do.
Before we move on to the changes, anything from the public? Before we move on to some of the other ideas in this? Anybody online? Okay, before we move on to the changes. We'll close the public hearing and then we'll move on to we'll talk about the changes, the amendments to those resolutions. Is that correct, Mr. Nadler?
that's correct.
Okay, so if there's no disagreement, I will declare this public hearing closed at this time. I don't even need a gavel. There, public hearing's closed.
Please don't bang your.
I have one in my office, I'll bring you, last year I was the judge for Halloween. So I will bring it to you next.
I want a
time.
big rubber one. A big rubber one. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll, the good news is for you guys is when we get into our motions, we'll get right into that. Okay, we have a second public hearing for tonight, which is a new public hearing on the 2025 preliminary budget of the town of Canandaigua, and this is attachment 2 in the online in the agenda. At this time, I declare the public hearing open and invite anybody who would like to be heard at this time to come forward. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to be heard at this time? Is there anybody online who would like to be heard at this time? Any board members who would like to be heard at this time, or do you want to wait till we get to the resolution itself? Because we will have to make, what's that?
Oh,
Okay, all right, so one last time, is there anybody else, anyone who would like to be heard in the audience? Whether in the room or online? All right, this time I declare the public hearing for the 2025 preliminary budget closed. Our reports of department heads and officials, highway and water, Jim.
I included my report for this month, this we were talking about sidewalks, I spoke with representatives of DeMarco, and they're gonna probably get those sidewalks we've been asking for here shortly. The next couple weeks, they should be going, and that's one of the goals that we asked them to do.
Me along.
Along Carrollton, make that connection, so.
That they're gonna do earlier than
Yeah,
what they're supposed
earlier
to.
and Later, so.
Awesome.
So that's a bit of, good news for sidewalks, that goes for us, so.
Are they doing 5 foot?
I say minimum's 5, maybe 6. I know it's 5 coming out, I'm not, well, look at what was approved, I say at least 5.
Just didn't know if you were talking. Thanks.
So,
All right, thank you, and thanks for working on that with them. Assessor, I do not see Michelle online, am I correct? All right, nor do I see our historian. Town clerk,
Nope.
Ms. Outhouse, anything? Nothing? All right. Planner, we have our planner right here. Do you have anything, Sarah?
I did submit a report. I'm sorry, I wrote it like weeks ago and I can't remember. I'm sure it was worth reading. All good things.
All right, any questions for Sarah? Okay. I see HR and Parks online. Lindsay, do you have anything for us?
Hi, I do. I actually want to recognize Boy Scout Troop number 32 out of St. John's Church for doing a scout project and installing a Gaga pit over at Old Brookside Park for everyone there to use. Within like the first day, there were over 20 kids in there. I also am on one of their Facebook groups for that community and they were super excited. I heard the kids are using it nonstop. So just a really great addition. And I just really wanted to thank the Boy Scout Troop number 32 and our own town employee, Jeremy Niffen, for he is one of the volunteers for the Boy Scouts and really helped bring this thing together. So I just wanted to shout out some recognition to them.
That's fantastic. And that's something that they have been asking for quite a while. So thank you very much.
May I say something?
Yes.
Hey, Lindsay, I would love it if they could consider doing a Gaga pit at Ononda sometime.
Yes, we are actually looking at doing that potentially if all things work out for the spring of 2025.
Great.
All right, anything else?
I mean, there's always so much going on, but that was the most exciting piece for this month.
All right, thank you so much. Supervisor, deputy supervisor, financial reports are in the agenda. I do have a few things to share and I'm not a Yankees fan, so I apologize to anybody who might be a Yankees fan in here. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna take it short because I do not want to make, I don't want to make Sue mad at me. First of all, I would like to announce and congratulate Deputy Supervisor Rudolph. This past week at the Board of Supervisors meeting, Adeline was appointed to the position of Republican Elections Commissioner for Ontario County, which is fantastic for her and it's an excellent opportunity, but it means that she will be leaving the board as of 12/31/24. So we will definitely miss her. She will begin her new role January 25. In this role, she'll be an advocate for the residents of Ontario County and a primary point of contact for people within the county, helping them through the voting and the election process. And I'm excited for her to be able to bring that same attention to detail there that she has here and that focus on constituent services. Since the question will probably arise at this point, it is not our intention to fill that seat with an appointment. The natural election cycle will roll into next year. So that new person who fills that vacancy will be able to run for the upcoming year. All right, so thank you very much, Adeline, and congratulations for this new opportunity for you. Landfill discussions continue, so please go online. December 5th is when the board will make that vote. Please send any information that you have, and regardless of direction that the board takes, the county board, whether to leave it open in some capacity or move to a different direction, it's going to take us 3 years to really implement that change. So we need input. I've heard from about 3 people so far within the town, and that's it. Sales tax, overall sales tax revenues are down about countywide between 1.5% and 2.3%. We're right in the middle, so we're right around 1.6% in the town of Canandaigua. That translates to about $10,000 less per quarter that we're receiving in sales tax. But we're still, our budget projections still exceed what we're bringing in sales tax, so we're not behind because of that. I want to congratulate Heather Robson. Heather completed all the requirements to become a certified assessor. Many municipalities struggle to find one certified assessor, and we have two. But I don't want to say that too loudly because she's amazing, and we are so fortunate to have those amazing assessors within the town. Halloween at Ananda, despite the rain and the hail, it was a great day. It was a great success. I think the costume of the day was a Velociraptor. I think there were hundreds of them running around, maybe a T-Rex. I couldn't quite tell the difference between the two. Yeah, there's a whole herd of them.
Terry was a velociraptor.
Terry was a- yeah.
Confused. Okay.
Oh, I counted them coming in.
Yeah.
They were afraid we'd be bitten.
And a lot fewer left than came in because we saw a lot of costumes being carried by mom and dad because they did not want to walk up the hill with that big old air pocket on their back. And again, thanks to the organizers, to Oksana and the Special Events Committee. And I heard several times talking to multiple people, if it weren't for Oksana and the Special Events Committee, and if it weren't for Oksana, this event probably wouldn't come together and we probably wouldn't have Halloween at Ananda the way we have it. So thank you to Oksana and the committee. Saturday morning before Halloween at Ananda, I was able to attend the Western New York Federation of Lake Associations Annual Conference. It's something like WIFLAC, but I think that's what it is. Kevin Olvani spoke, our watershed coordinator, spoke about building municipal partnerships for stormwater mitigation and lake preservation. And I was so thrilled to see that the town of Canandaigua got more props than any other municipality. And Jim Fletcher got more props than any other person during that presentation because of his ability to work with Kevin. And Kevin blames Jim for being the linchpin within the town for all that work getting done. And the ability that we're able to do so much with such a limited amount of money and resource. But I just wanted to thank Kevin and thank Jim and the entire board for their support for these projects. So thank you for that. And then we'll be voting on the 2025 budget this evening. Some of the highlights, it keeps us focused on keeping quality staff, providing quality services to the community, restoring COVID cuts to the highway department, and also improving public safety, which we will discuss when we get to that more and we talk about some information about North Road. North Road is the reason for the increases within the spending plan. And I hope that people realize that we've been looking at this for years and kept kicking this can down the road for how many years? Jim, Terry?
Can't count it.
It was always wait till the water project is done. The water project was done and then it was wait for grants and we applied for a couple and we didn't get them. And with prices the way they are, that somebody made a comment that thank goodness that there hasn't been anything catastrophic happening there yet. With the foot traffic, with the buses, it's a major route to games, to the school, for farming. So we're fortunate and we're lucky that we have not had any tragedy happen there. So that is why that is a very significant part of our budget. And again, thanks to Jim, thanks to John for working on that and coming up with those figures as we go. And Greg too, you're part of it, I think, for that. So that is all that I have for my report. That's the last time I will speak tonight. All right, Finance Committee, Madeline? You don't
Since
need me?
the Yankees are playing, apparently I have nothing further to report.
All right, Public Works, Terry?
We met on October 11th and just a couple of things. So we did talk extensively about the landfill. We had Carla Jordan and Caitlin McCumsky, they used to work with Jim here, come in and give us an overview of the latest report that was put together with ideas on how to move forward, which from what you said would be determined on December
5th.
Can't wait. That's another one that's been kicked down the road for a lot of years, so whichever way it goes, it'll be, at least we'll have direction.
Yes.
So that's good. A couple other things were the upland at Ananda. We have a plan to install more cabins, do a lot of work there to make it more user friendly, create some more parking lots and, the only thing we're lacking is enough money to do it. So just typical for a lot of projects, but we at least have a few things we outlined that are under our control that we'll be able to do. Using some ARPA money that's left over, it'll get part of the project completed, so. That will be underway soon, and the cabin that's out here in the front lawn will be out of there, it won't be sold to anybody. It'll be taken down to Onondaga, so. In anticipation
Can't wait.
yeah, upland. Hopefully you get it up there the way it looks out there right
We
now.
will.
So. Well, North Road, Jared just discussed that, and we'll have a little more discussion, I think, about that a little bit later, but project has been a number of years in coming. And it's really aimed at safety. And kids walking along in the road to get to school, not a good thing. This project, while it's expensive, $6 million, it is something that will be accomplished over the next couple of years and produce a much safer route for kids and people who use North Road. And for the people who live along there, it'll be quite a boon for them. So that's it.
All right, thank you so much. All right, Dave, ordinance?
Yeah, we have a couple, we'll have a couple public hearings for our next meeting. We're working on a couple things, dividing lots, false alarms for 2 dimensions. So we'll have some activity for the board for next month.
All right, thank you very much. We are to our next privilege of the floor for tonight's meeting. Is there anyone who would like to be heard at this time? Anyone online? I was gonna bring you up when we got to the resolution, or do you want to come up right now? Why don't you come up now, Donna, if you want to?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. That's perfect.
Good evening. My name is Donna West, and I'm the location coordinator again this year for Reach Across America. First, I'd like to thank the board for the proposal of the resolution 2024-266 on this evening's agenda. As you know, this is our second year participating in Reach Across America. I'd like to take this opportunity to publicly thank those who have helped us along the way. You, the board, we have really appreciate all your support and efforts. I'd also like to thank the entire town clerk's office, including Sam Moore before he moved out of the clerk's office. I'd like to thank Lindsay Prairie and her staff, especially Andy Carino and Kim Burkhardt in the development office. They've all been extremely helpful in assisting us in anything we've needed. Our team this year consists of returning members, Karen DeMay, Judy York, and they're both on the cemetery committee, and Betty McMahon. And then our newest member, Patty Steele, is also our co-location coordinator this year. So we've handed out information to all of you tonight. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to let us know. We encourage you to consider sponsoring a wreath for one of our veterans at either Academy or HUN by going to the Wreaths Across America website. Because you want to make sure that when you donate, that you see the words wreathsacrossamerica.org and then / either NY-HUN or NYACAD. But that's in the information that you have. So at HUN, there are 15 veterans. At Academy, there are 48 veterans plus the Civil War monument. So we have a total of 64 wreaths that we'll be placing. So, and due to the really generous wreath donations we received last year, we were also able to place a wreath on the signpost at 5 of the other town-owned cemeteries: Cooley, Lucas, New Michigan, Tilton, Root Remington, and Sand Hill. So thank you again. We hope to see you at one of our ceremonies on Saturday, December 14th at 12 noon.
All right, thank you so much. Thanks for all your work with that. And I've already looked, and Donna promised that Saturday, the 14th would be 55 and sunny.
Just like last year. That'd be perfect.
Just like last year, 55 and sunny.
Yeah,
Just in
right,
case, all
exactly.
right.
It must have been at a different cemetery than I was at last year.
That's right, 'cause you were, oh,
But-
that's right, you were the canopy.
Yeah,
Thanks, everybody.
It was
See you guys.
windy, I guess.
it was a little bit
One
cool.
was windy. But still not.
All right, moving forward. We have our continuing resolutions and motions. And resolution number 242A, seeker determination of non-significance for the Uptown Landing Incentive Zoning Project.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on this one? All in favor?
No, wait.
Oh, wait, we don't need this is seeker.
So at the end of last week, the developer provided some additional information to MRB Group. It was sent out to you, that caused MRB Group to have to decide to revise some of their materials. The narrative, the seeker narrative was revised, just a couple lines. And the part two form, seeker part two form was revised. It's in. It could be up there, but it's in your emails.
That's what you sent today, right?
No, interesting, yeah.
Um,
It's also attachment 5 soon.
The seeker changes are very minor, but I do want you to be aware that they changed since what's in the agenda.
Any concerns or anything that
Absolutely
that should cause any? Okay. Does that raise any questions for anyone?
No, I saw them there.
Okay, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that resolution carries. This resolution, so everybody's aware, there will be a little discussion and there will need to be some amendments to this resolution. So first I will open this. So resolution number 243, conditional approval of incentive zoning for Uptown Landing.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Adeline and Dave, second by Dave. So there will be discussion, so I would draw everybody's attention to the screen behind Mr. Nadler. Can you walk us through those changes that were sent out?
One, MRB Group sent a letter dated October 25th, 2024, that was emailed to you earlier today. Stating that they have no reason to believe the quantities and unit prices identified in the developer's incentive and amenities report are inconsistent with proposed plans or their pricing. So that's important to know. Those are accurate numbers. We've revised two conditions, and the developer realized they could fit, instead of 91 apartment units in the 4-story mixed-use building, they could fit 105. We discussed that briefly during the public hearing, and if you're okay with that, that's reflected here and in Exhibit F, our finding the statement. Two, if we go up to Exhibit, right there, B. Sorry. I've added this condition based on an email I got from the developer's engineer on Friday saying, it's their suggestion, I think it makes sense. The planning board deems it necessary or appropriate, remove single family lots from the site plan to create open space. Developer may add 2 apartment units for each single family lot removed. Maximum number of single family lots that can be removed shall be 6. The discussion and as reflected in your planning board advisory report was the single family units are packed pretty tightly and they're going to want to see some open space. They're not, I don't think the planning board is looking to reduce unit count. This gives the developer, some compensation for that reduction in unit count. But that proposed, I believe that's all of the changes. And then if the board is interested or willing to accept the applicant's request that the maximum contribution for the playground equipment shall be $65,000. I would suggest that in Exhibit B, condition number 1. At the end of that paragraph. A sentence be added that says the maximum contribution for this amenity shall be $65,000. If the town board is amenable to all these changes, I would recommend that a town board member make a motion to amend the resolution to incorporate the revisions discussed.
Can we incorporate them all at once?
Yes.
Okay,
Can I
Make
say
that
so
motion.
moved?
all right,
Just
so.
did that.
So we'll give it to Dave, first to Dave, second to John.
May I ask a question?
Yes, now that we have them open.
Sarah, did you have any comments on the switching to the apartment units versus the single family? Okay.
Okay, so any other comment on the amendments? All in favor of the amendments? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so the amendments carry 5-0. And now we have that resolution, so now we need to, the resolution's already open, so we have Adeline opened it, Dave seconded it, so all in favor of resolution number 243 as amended, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so resolution 243 carries as amended.
And
All
if I
right,
could just make a comment.
I have a point of order. Did anyone second Dave's?
yes, John seconded
I
it.
already sort of,
John got it. I can't hear a hand.
I had it. The exhibits A through F are by the resolutions, terms are part of the resolution. So we added them to the end of the agenda just for space. But from now on, that resolution should always have all 10 to 15 pages of all those exhibits
Okay,
attached to it.
so now they become part of the resolution going forward. Okay. All right, thanks for walking us through that. Thank you, everybody, for your work on that. Matt's already gone. All right, thank you.
Like, you still on, so. He's on.
I
All right,
am here. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
all right,
So you'll send out final docs for execution?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so
all
much.
right.
Look forward
Thanks,
to it.
Jeff. We'll see you.
Take care.
All right, now onto the new resolutions and motions. Resolution number 250, appointment of signatories on towns' bank accounts with Canandaigua National Bank.
So moved.
Moved by Adeline, seconded by Terry. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Carries. Resolution number 251, acknowledgement and authorization of budget transfers by town manager.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Adeline, seconded by Terry. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? That resolution carries. Resolution number 252, the addition of John Falbo as Town of Canandaigua Investment Account Administrator with New York Class and Muni Trust.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Adeline, seconded by Dave. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That one carries. Resolution number 253, budget transfer authorization. Moved by Terry, seconded by John. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That one carries. Resolution number 254, authorized purchase of capital equipment for various departments. Moved. Second. Moved by Terry, seconded by John. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? That one carries. Resolution number 255, reimbursement of water accounts.
Second.
Moved by Terry, seconded by Dave. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That resolution carries. Resolution number 256, the Town of Canandaigua, Ananda Park Uplands Area Improvements Project and Seeker Type 1 Action, intent to be lead agency.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Adeline, seconded by Dave. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Resolution 257, authorizing the execution of administration and operation agreement for special district water services. Moved. Second. Moved by Terry, seconded by John. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Resolution number 258, setting the operations and maintenance rate for special water districts.
Second?
Moved by Terry, seconded by Adeline. Any discussion on 258? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That one carries. Slow down for this one. Resolution number 259, setting a public hearing on a text code amendment to town code chapters 220-9 and 220-20 that will reduce the minimum requirements for the size of a dwelling unit and seeker intent to declare lead agency.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Dave, seconded by Adeline. Any discussion? Yeah. That's why I paused. All right, go ahead now. Do you have any thoughts?
I guess I'd like to hear what other people have to say on this.
On the public hearing? We're just
No.
setting a public hearing right now.
Comments? We already approved setting the.
No.
This is setting the public
Oh,
hearing,
I'm sorry.
but the public hearing has to declare the information we have in it.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
if we adjust it, so the public hearing, if we change it at the public hearing, then we have to reissue it because it'll be different than what we've advertised for the public hearing. Correct?
Well, so you have no is the answer. Your, the local law in its final form. Well,
You said just no to me right there. Anyhow, you hurt my feelings. Go ahead.
Just no.
you asked it like a question.
Yes or no?
Local law in its final form has to be produced 5 days prior to the public hearing. Prior to that, your local law can be a little bit more general. It has to, notice of public hearing has to specify what you're doing to the extent that it will inform members of the public who want to make comment. But it doesn't have to specify the exact number. That being said,
Right.
and specify. the
Since
exact
this is the last meeting before the public hearing, where we will discuss this, then the answer was yes, that you meant to give me.
Still no, but.
All right, I tried. So I'll go ahead and start out. As I've looked at this and I've thought about it in that the home size. You know, there are a lot of quality homes, there are a lot of there are a lot of beautiful, well-built, functional homes at a variety of sizes. So I am inclined to, I know we had brought it down, it's a big jump from that 11, were we 11?
100.
That 11 to 720, but my feeling is that, you know, taking out that requirement, allow somebody to come in and who says you can't build one for 600 square feet or 500 square feet and still have a quality product. So I support taking that and removing any minimum home requirement.
I would just say that the ordinance committee listened to a lot of stuff and had quite, laborious discussions on this. And came up with seven,
Yeah.
came up with 720. That would be my only recommendation, that I would like to see it stay at 7.
Is it possible, Chris, to say that setting that public hearing, the public hearing would be to discuss the minimum required square footage for a dwelling, reducing it from 1,100 square feet to between 0 and 720?
You can absolutely put that in your public notice. You can't vote on the local law until you've had it by the final version on your desk, on board members' desks for 5 days. So what you could do is have a public hearing where the notice says that would reduce the minimum required square footage for a dwelling unit, period. And then make your decision after the public hearing. And then have, December.
It would push it
pass a
back to
local-
December,
Yeah,
which isn't,
you lose time, but. You would get
Right.
to hear public input before you make.
before we made that final.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah.
I have a question. Sarah, right now, the manufactured home, we talked about 720 square feet. And in our packet here, there's quite a few pages
Yeah.
dealing with the two, the single family and the manufactured, in a manufactured home park or outside a manufactured home park. Reducing this to 0, how does that impact? I wasn't clear reading through it, how that would impact manufactured home parks, or if it would have any impact at all.
Right now, an individual could request to place a double-wide manufactured home outside of a manufactured home park in the town of Canandaigua. They could not do that with a single wide right now. There's a rule against it. It's based on size and it does actually say they can't. So if the town board wants to reduce that minimum to 0 or anything smaller than what it is now, and also want the ability for the dwelling to be a manufactured home that's smaller than a double wide, that section of code has to be changed. I don't believe it would have impact on manufactured homes inside of a manufactured home park, because Mike Murphy and I looked through pretty extensively to try and find any mention of minimum square footage and redline those. So the change should allow a smaller manufactured home inside a manufactured home or outside. Just also as a reminder, if someone wants to place a manufactured home outside of a manufactured home park in the town, they're required to place it on the foundation, so no skirting, or, you know, physical chassis.
And it doesn't change minimum lot size, right? Lot size remains the same, correct?
Size, correct. Just the size of the home.
But the home has to be detached to the foundation, goes below the frost line.
It
There's
has to
discussion
meet
about
the
that.
requirements that code enforcement governs.
So, I mean, talk about manufactured home. It's not, it doesn't roll out stick built, 400 square foot home. I mean, somebody took them in and hammer and nails and put together so is it possible for somebody to buy a tow behind 25 feet long, 10 feet wide, if it was a 0, put in a foundation and then take that and bolt it to that foundation?
They would have to meet New York State Fire and Safety Code for homes.
Do those tow behind meet those codes?
You have to ask code enforcement.
I have no idea. I just wonder if, you know,
This wouldn't remove the necessity for someone to build appropriately and meet code, not zoning, but meet actual building code. That would still hold. There are standards for smaller homes. When I talked to our code enforcement office, he seemed pretty confident that we can still review and those homes would be safe. I mean, they still have to meet all that. It's only zoning. I don't know those answers, but I'm sure we can find an answer for you from Mike Murphy.
Would this have any effect on an apartment building?
There were notes in it talking about at the 720, it was adjusting the size of the unit. There were unit specifications. Whereas the minimum size was larger than 720, we brought it down to 720.
So what if it were 0?
We removed the minimum.
Oh.
Yeah,
No, I mean, if from an apartment standpoint.
I think our draft. So it's the catchment 10.
So they could be smaller than.
Yeah, so they would have to still just meet, you know, building code requirements for minimum size for them, for people to inhabit. Dave, if it was at the
Sarah, can you repeat what you just said to Dave for John about dropping it down to 0?
I think, and I don't have it in front of me, but I think if the minimum was going to be, you know, no minimum, I think we just removed language that talked about minimum size.
Well, and I'm looking at it.
But did that answer the question about apartments?
Yes, I believe it removed it for everything.
If it would,
Just,
Yeah, so apartments should be less than 720 as well.
I mean, if that, yeah, if that's.
Currently, studio apartments can be 450. One bedrooms can be 550. Two bedrooms can be 700 square feet. And three bedrooms can be 800 square feet. And I think your local law.
Switch to that all to 720.
Switch that up, yeah. Or
So if we
started
take,
at 720.
we take this to zero, then
You just get rid of that section.
They
Get rid of
just,
that whole section.
yeah,
so
they
you build
just,
Whatever you want.
they
Well,
cut out
well,
the
they still
section
have
that
to
said minimum habitable floor area per dwelling unit shall be townhouse, 3 bedroom, 1,000 square feet, townhouse, 2 bedroom, 850. They just cut it off.
But
It's
they'd
gone.
still have to meet uniform building code for an apartment. And you'd have to have your apartment that would hold, you'd have to meet the square footage for a bedroom and for everything else that you would need.
Or at least like an efficiency apartment. I mean, there's standards in
Right.
New York State for those sizes.
Right.
So they still have to meet the other requirements. It's just in New York State.
Right. Any other, John?
Well, I guess my question, just as a follow-up to this conversation is, are we voting on the 720? Or are we going to modify the language? Are we gonna go and vote on that? Or are we gonna vote on a public hearing that doesn't talk about square footage? As Chris suggested. I
like
don't know what I'd
that.
be voting on, but I will say that I believe my constituents are in favor of reducing this below 750. And I think that all of our constituents believe that we should remove some of these controls and some of this bureaucracy and some of this red tape that we're experiencing. And I see no reason why we shouldn't allow a small home of 450 or 500 feet if somebody wants to do it tastefully. And that, as it currently is written, it still needs to go before the planning board for approval. So I'm in favor of reducing this to zero.
I'm in favor of the terminology for the public hearing to be, as Terry described it, kind of, what do we want? What does the public want? 750 to 0, somewhere in there. And let's hear from the constituents.
But I don't think we set a number for that. We need to, what Chris said, we need to revise this. What's in there and set a public hearing.
Just put a period right there.
Right.
Right.
So the town board member would make a motion to amend the resolution to remove the language after the period in the first whereas.
Well, before we do that, can I ask, so John and Jared are at 0, correct?
Yes.
Dave, are you currently at 720?
720.
Terry, do you know where you are? You're
I-
not sure.
we want to hear what the public has to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think we've got enough to make that resolution as Chris outlined. To make that the amendment as Chris outlined to the resolution where we set a public hearing to discuss minimum size requirements, period. And then with the understanding that we're gonna move that back to December for our vote for the local law.
Square footage we put in at the next. at the
Yeah,
next
so
public
for our
hearing
December meeting, we'll
December.
then have a local law before us with that size,
Specific number.
specific size, whatever it might be that we come up with after that public hearing and let people speak to that. Is that comfortable with
okay with that.
everybody? Is everybody okay with that?
Right, yep,
Right.
So
good
you
with that.
would all plan on making your decision at the
Public
next
hearing.
meeting after this, after hearing
Yes,
Public.
public, but voting on that decision at
correct.
the next meeting. after this.
Yes.
So we would have to have another resolution to set a public hearing.
No,
We just to adopt the local law,
That's
right?
it.
To amend that and adopt the local law. That one you were right,
Change
knowing
after
me.
public hearing. The whole
Yeah.
point of a public hearing is, I forget sometimes, is to get input and maybe change your mind.
Okay. So we need a motion to amend.
This resolution to eliminate the language after the word dwelling unit in the first whereas paragraph.
So moved.
second,
Okay, so the amendment was moved by Dave and seconded by Terry. Any discussion on the amendment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the amendment carries. And At this time, let's do a vote on resolution number 259 as amended. All in favor?
I,
Opposed? All right, so 259 as amended carries. And who voted for the amendment? Who motioned the amendment? David.
Yeah.
Dave and Terry for the amendment. Okay, thanks. All right,
Oh, you're doing Dave and Terry then? And Adeline is the.
for the amendment,
Um,
no.
for the
The reso
resolution
was for
as
the
amended, it was
original
Dave and
resolution.
Adeline. Yep. For the amendment, it was Dave and Terry.
okay.
Okay, all right. Thank you, everybody, for that discussion. Resolution number 260, accepting County Road 10 easements related to Creekview Apartments at Woodlands Phase 2.
So move.
Okay, moved by Dave, seconded by Terry. Any discussion?
Yeah, I can't remember why, but when we had our agenda review the other day, I had written down, who pays easement costs.
Yeah, it should be getting charged. back.
Charge back to the developer.
That was a chargeback.
The town funds it, I believe,
Right.
because years ago,
Charge back and-
yeah, we weren't, I'm assuming it gets charged back, I hope so. Years ago, we figured out that none of these easements were ever getting filed. Developers weren't trying to avoid doing it. You know,
Yeah,
a
just-
board resolution passes, nobody knows, it just. Stuff got left on people's desks, so the town took that job responsibility.
It just has a dollar in it, so. I don't know what it is.
The easements,
Transaction.
Yeah.
the easements cover, just dedicating the roadways and
That's the next resolution.
that's the next one.
Next one, yeah.
Didn't you want to tell them what this one was?
Taking dedication of Woodland Park Circle that somehow slipped through the cracks, and now we're doing it today.
That's fair.
Okay.
And
Alright.
that's basically what it came down to, it just, I don't know why we didn't, but we didn't.
Okay.
At least years ago. It's
Alright.
interesting.
So any further discussion on 60? 260? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, opposed? All right, that one carries. Resolution 261, accepting of soil erosion control surety payments. Motion.
Second.
By John, seconded by Dave. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That one carries.
Mr. Supervisor.
Yes, sir.
We miss 58.
I have that as a 5-0 vote with Terry
yeah.
and Adeline. Resolution 262, Creekview Apartments Phase 1, acceptance of dedication of roadway, Woodland Park Circle and infrastructure, including water main, storm sewer and sidewalks for Phase 1 of the Creekview Apartment subdivision, authorization for town clerk to file necessary documents.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Dave, seconded by Terry. Any discussion on this one?
Yeah, taking dedication of sidewalks internally. Brought up a
Well,
question
along the road,
along the road.
in the right of way.
Along
Okay.
the main C
So
shaped road.
once you get off, what's it called Woodland Drive? or-
Yeah, and there's a little private
Those
drives
little-
off of that, we don't,
Don't fly those,
no,
nor it's trouble with sidewalk.
no.
But what just brought up in my mind the other day was sidewalks gonna be on County Road 10.
Right.
Who's gonna plow that in the winter?
We'll get you out there, in your John Deere, come on.
I don't have a plow on, right?
We'll take the, I got some steel at the shop.
You'll get the heated Kubota.
You don't have a shovel?
That does bring up a discussion, because this is gonna come up more and more, and I think it's something we need to think about as a board. Where sidewalks are required, where we're requiring them to be put in along public roads. Which is one that we're gonna be talking about in a little bit, is that a required, do we then say, you know what, we're requiring sidewalks here? Or we're saying for safety, they need to be there, so then we take the responsibility of clearing them so it doesn't fall on the homeowners. That's a discussion I think is valid. I don't know the answer to it, but I think we really need to.
It's currently, I understand it's currently, it's the homeowners are required
Right.
to maintain, so, or
Still wanna
the
take that-
HOAs.
Well,
But those are,
both agreed to.
and I mean, those are internal. I mean, I'm thinking
Yeah,
on
that's-
main roads. I mean, I don't, I don't consider, some of those into the developments aren't really, yours,
Oh, yeah, mine's.
I'm not gonna give you a main road,
I
status,
I
but.
shovel it every day.
Like if we required sidewalks on County Road 16. We put them in. Then who, cause it's a main road, if we, do them on 332, it's something we need to talk about to see how we're gonna. So it's gonna come up more and more.
It's gonna become more prevalent also as we start seeing development off of the Route 332. Let's get some of those neighboring areas. So, to your point, that are business related.
Right.
If they're in the bid, I mean, that,
Yeah,
we
the
already
bid has their
bought
own tool.
But as Jared mentioned, like, okay,
standard.
if you're gonna have them there, but not maintain them, people are gonna be forced to the road.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have to do something. What something is, I don't know,
well,
but we have to
you,
do something.
you
But we've
create a
got North
sidewalk
Road
district.
coming, we've got County Road 10 coming, those are all things that are, I mean, I think, I agree with Jared, we have to have some kind of policy on this, we have to, get together and decide what we're gonna do. I don't, you know what I mean, I don't think we can just leave that to chance.
Whether it's us with the quota.
I do have it brings up another question though. I live in an HOA with sidewalks, that the HOA is supposed to be maintaining. But are they intended to have an HOA for the Cook properties?
No is the answer.
Yeah.
Currently, the answer is no. I don't know if that'll,
It might be something that the planning board should consider.
yeah, that'll be a planning board
Yeah.
topic, I'm sure.
Any further discussion
Well,
as I
it
got
doesn't
it?
have to be
off of
answered
that?
tonight,
Right.
but
If it
just
can-
like all the
if it can,
equipment
you
for
get a
the highway
special
department.
award for that.
Right, I mean, the budget is help, yeah, we do have highway equipment in there, so
That will not work very well on the
No.
sidewalk.
No.
you gotta make sidewalk 20 feet wide.
6 foot wide would be nice.
All right,
The bid
We
is a
do.
tool,
Tool.
yeah.
Yeah.
all right, so let's go ahead and vote on this one, because we won't solve this tonight unless it snows tomorrow, which I hope it doesn't. So all in favor of 262?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that carries. Resolution 263, Town of Canandaigua, adoption of the Ontario County Hazard Mitigation Action Plan.
So moved.
Second by Terry, seconded by Adeline. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That one carries. Resolution number 264, the Town of Canandaigua North Road Reconstruction and New Sidewalks Project and Secret Type 1 Action Intent to be Lead Agency.
So moved.
By Adeline, seconded by Terry. Any discussion on this one?
This has been something I'm excited to see progress on. I joined the Trails Committee 15 years ago and we've been pushing it ever since. So,
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That resolution carries. Resolution number 265, authorization for Town of Canandaigua manager to sign stormwater control facilities maintenance agreement for Creekview Apartments at Woodland Park. By Terry.
Second.
Seconded by John. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that one carries. Resolution number 266, acknowledging Race Across America 2024 and thanking the cemetery committee for their efforts.
So moved.
That was like everybody. I'll give that to,
Universal.
I'll give it to Terry and Dave. First by Terry, second by Dave. Any discussion on this one? Just a big thank you for all that you do and the recognition and beautification of our cemeteries and the recognition of those who served long ago in preserving that. So thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That resolution carries. Resolution 267, authorizing advertisement of rebids for the Canandaigua Town Hall renovation project. Motion. Moved by Terry, seconded by John. Any discussion?
This was really upsetting if this is the Wix law is requiring us to rebid this all out. Are we gonna send, I'd like it if we could send something to our state representatives indicating this situation that we've been put in.
We've had discussions have started with that, not saying that it's gonna get anywhere with Wix law, so everybody knows. There was a lot of fight corruption in New York City, which puts limits on single bid projects that you can do. The current values are New York City, New York City area, $3 million, you can go up to with a single bidder, a single prime sub with single contractor. Anything over that, you need to bid it out to your main subs. Long Island is 1.5 million. Everywhere else in New York State, it's 500,000. So no matter where you live in any other part of New York State, that cap is 500,000. So any project over $500,000, you have to have all the different primes, which adds 10 to 15% to the cost of the overall cost of a project. Ours came over, it was about $5,000, about $5,000, $504,000, so about $4,000 over. So that means it all has to be rebid. And it would be a violate, we can't just say, hey, drop your price, because again, that would not look good for us. It has to be rebid, and each of those rebids, they're carrying their own overhead. So now we're paying into that. So that adds 10 to 15% to the price of a project. With increased.
You also have to pay to somebody to manage the four.
Right, now instead of having one company doing it, now we have to have a project manager to manage 4 separate subs within a project. So it's just the efficiency of the state that we have to deal with, and I said efficiently facetiously. So unfortunately, so any other discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that carries. Resolution 268, amending the Town of Canandaigua vacation, sick, floating holiday, and personal leave policy for part-time employees. Second by Terry, seconded by Adeline. Any discussion on this? So thanks to Lindsay for putting this together. She spent several months on this, trying to figure out and hash things out. So thank you for the time and effort for that project. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, that one carries. Resolution number 269, establishing a work from home policy.
Second.
Moved by Dave, seconded by Adeline. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That one carries. Resolution number 270, adopting into paid family leave.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Adeline, seconded by Dave. Any discussion?
This is something Lindsay and I have been discussing for a while, so I'm glad to see it getting on the agenda for me to vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That one carries. Resolution 271, amending the Town of Canandaigua's leave policy related to cancer screening. Moved by Terry, seconded by Adeline. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, that one carries. Give me a second as I scroll down to the bottom. I was using the short form.
Minutes.
All right. Which minutes do we, I don't have them, I'm not done there.
6, 9:19, and 9:23.
All right, so Dave, are you making a motion to approve those?
Yes, I am.
All right, can I get a second?
Yes.
All right, seconded by Terry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, minutes are approved. Oh, it's so long agenda. I'm coming over here. Can't make it all the way down there in time. All right, Jaren, would you go ahead and read the bills, please?
Utility abstract dated 10/10/2024 totaling $172,311.18. General fund, $13,423.91. Highway fund, $511.65. Lighting districts, $38.82. Water districts, $158,336.80. Town board abstract dated 10/28/2024 totaling $975,130.69. General fund, $265,633.40. Highway fund, $600,313.10. Capital projects, $73,120.39. Water districts, $36,063.80.
Thank you very much. Motion to approve the bills?
So moved.
Adeline and Terry. Any discussion or questions?
I have one question.
Yes.
As I was going through them today, I noticed a bill from, someone to build the fishing pier, they don't have the park, and it was in. Out of area contractor, I saw they keep facilities.
Yeah.
Did we put that on? And
Yes, we did.
We did it out last year, I think. You did it out.
Yeah.
just wanted to refresh my memory. I thought we did, but thank you.
All right, all in favor of the bills?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, bills are paid. I do not have any other business at this time. Oh, we do need to vote.
Those had a walk number.
That's right, I had a hand carried resolution. And, where was our resolution to approve the budget?
You know, the budget.
Okay.
It's still on the preliminary budget, it's now a public hearing to take public input to then create the final adopted, as final budget to adopt it at a later.
So we're not having any discussion with the board about the budget tonight?
We can during other business, so let's open that up. Let's do this one first. All right, can you pull, I put that in a message. You should have this one, 272. Check emails, yeah. So the resolution that we have before us that was hand carried in tonight is the designation of Modern Bank, Five Star Bank, Chemung Canal Bank and Trust, Customers Bank, and Community Bank as approved depositories for town officers. So before we open it, I just want to explain. So when we were meeting with our financial advisors, they recommended that in order to negotiate and bid better rates, that we open up our policy and allow some of these, only because sometimes those banks outlined are some of the more competitive rates and pay the best rates, whether it be for a CD, whether it be for a treasury note, whatever else it might be. This doesn't mean we're gonna go ahead and put the money in those right now. This just means that if we're bidding rates and we have $1 million to invest and we find somebody whose rate's significantly higher, we can jump on it and take advantage of that interest and not have to come to the board. But this was at the request, John and I met with them and Jess was there when we met, and this was their recommendation to include these. To include these in our portfolio, if you will, of places we can use.
I'm not familiar with Modern Bank. Where is that?
I do not know. But they still use, they don't use paper and pencil
They're
anymore.
modern.
They're modern. They're very modern. And all of these are approved by they're all approved by the state of New York. They're all approved by the comptroller. They're all banks that other municipalities and institutions use. Public institutions, I should say. All right.
I'll offer the resolution 272.
All right, so first by Adeline, second by Dave. Any discussion? Do we need to make any changes? I heard.
Not right now, but I think you'll see this and some others come back for a little sleep here and there.
Okay,
Because your town manager is pretty good at reading law and research and stuff.
okay,
Figure it
sounds
out
good.
right there.
So we'll add that in there. We'll have that in there. So we have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so 272 carries. For other business for tonight, we did have the public hearing on the budget. Any discussion or comments or questions from board members about changes to make before we come back and vote on the final budget?
I do have one comment. I would still like our judges' salaries to be adjusted up from where they are currently reflected at the 76,000 to the $84,000 level was requested for the 2024 budget, which is much lower than the 96,000 that was requested for the 2025 budget. So I would still like to see those judges' salaries higher than they're currently are indicated for the budget.
So are you making a motion to
Yes, I'm making a
adjust
motion
those?
to adjust it up to 84.
84,000? Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a first and a second. So all in favor of adjusting the judge's salary?
Discussion.
Any discussion on that?
There was a discussion about justification for it. And there is this, an agreement. Kind of a handshake agreement, I guess, not anything that can be used as club.
Correct. That is you're 100% correct. The only club that we have is the salary or their budget. And the salary can't be, and it can't be during that time in office. It can't be changed unless, by public hearing and everything else. So really, the only control that we have is effectively their budget that they have to work with. So there is no, it's because they're elected officials, just, we can't dictate their work schedule, their work hours, their work anything. We can have an agreement that we have discussed to try to improve court functions and try to open court more nights and to have more opportunity. But there's no recourse if that were not to happen.
Well, that's the issue I have.
But they did have willingness to be having more court hours.
We could go into executive session after and discuss a little bit more in detail. If you would like.
Well, we gotta make a decision.
Yeah, we do have to make that, but it was presented to our agreement and we discussed it, and then it was presented in writing. And I did not get any feedback from our agreement that was presented to them in writing. So when I put down after what we had talked about and what they had talked about in written form, I have not gotten any feedback from that.
Should we have an executive session now?
Say that again, please.
I'm questioning if we should have an executive session now to clarify this before we vote on.
I would want to clarify this.
Okay,
before I
all
vote.
right, let's clarify. You guys okay with that? Motion to enter executive session by
Yeah,
Adeline,
I make.
second by Dave.
Executive session.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We'll be in executive session.
How long we talk, they leave by attrition. Still shorter than the last time board meeting they had. So.
I know. Come on back in.
It's kind of ridiculous, because.
You know.
Wow,
I mean.
people stuck around.
There are a lot of people who stuck
Around.
around.
She's joining the club too.
Matt, you can. We won't take offense if you sign off.
Look at Matt, crazy.
I think you already did.
Yeah, he maybe some.
Zooms in your sleep. Wow,
Well, I wasn't sure if there's any highlights I should take out for us.
you never know.
Plenty of highlights.
Must be a slow night everywhere else.
Okay.
All right, so we're back into regular session. We had a motion and a second on the table. At this time, Adeline,
I would like to, what is it?
Withdraw my motion.
Withdraw my motion for an $84,000.
okay. So at this time, we don't have any other action to take as far as any further questions or items for the budget. All right, so we don't have any other actions to take. We're not voting on it tonight. We will vote on it at our next, at our meeting in November. So at this time, we do have a privilege of the floor. Is there anyone who would like to be heard at this time? Come on, you're the last brave, you're the brave soul.
You sunk it out too.
Yeah.
That's why we have the earlier privilege.
I get that, but this is my first one around, so
Fair.
I'm not sure how things work,
Perfect.
so. I'm a resident on North Road, Mark Wing, it's my name. And I don't know if this is the appropriate time to speak into this, but regarding the proposed budget for this project. It's more of a question than anything else. Has there been an impact study or a traffic study on specifically the sidewalk usage or potential usage in this instance?
So, well, a traffic study wouldn't necessarily lead us towards the sidewalk. I mean, the road itself is woefully deficient.
Correct.
Okay, infrastructure, any pipes, we camera those or shot, gutters are shot, roots in the system. The cross culvert by the North Road Church, that's toast. But as far as like, your question is more about the
More
sidewalk.
specifically, the sidewalk, because that kind of encompasses a couple of different issues.
What are the issues?
Say, what are the?
You know, this isn't a
This isn't typical, yeah, this isn't typical, but you stayed late, so. And we made the rules, so you got the, yeah.
So my, I guess my thing is, I live a couple doors down from the Life Spring Church there. And my office happens to be looking out my front window. So I see foot traffic. I am foot traffic in that particular part of the road. At least probably, I don't know, 325 days of the year. So that sidewalk would be used by me, okay? But I don't see that many other people using or potentially using a sidewalk in that area. Maybe 20 on a summer day. Get into winter, 5. So we're spending it in a, and I don't know how much we're spending because I don't know what the budget is for it, but we're spending a significant amount of money on 20 people to maybe use that. So that's a concern on my part. You know, every dollar counts in this current financial market, shall we say. And like I said, I'm probably going to be one of the primary users of this, but I can't justify, in my mind, spending millions of dollars potentially on a sidewalk and potentially a curbing system to support said whatever. But the road portion, gutter portion, I'm all in for. You know, the infrastructure there, I'm good with, but to spend that much money on a sidewalk that may or may not get used by 20 people makes me scratch my head.
Well, the town has a policy wherever we can, want to make a complete street for the community. You know, this is part. I want to speak on behalf of the board, but I think they would agree with me that we want to make this a walkable, bikeable, someone in a wheelchair who can go from the school to Tops, go to school. It's important to get their prescriptions. And I live on 28 Road. And we have several communities over there that could really use a sidewalk because they're in the road. So I think, I'm not trying to speak for the entire board, but I think the opinion is to provide that opportunity for everybody to get from A to B in this neck of the woods. That also ties the city sidewalks now in the North Road, which could also, when we're finished, complete it up to the high school that perhaps we may see more people going through there. I understand what your concern is. I think there could be a benefit for this project overall.
It's hard to see the high school at the end of that road, put in a brand new street, not put in sidewalk. So I don't know whether
That is also a point, because like, there's no sidewalk from the school to North Road.
Correct.
Right,
But we're gonna make that complete.
right, we're gonna,
So,
The
as you
other-
know, your rear lot, what's that, you're on the right or left?
I'm on the north side of the
Yeah,
road.
north, okay, so the south side. 3/4 of the homes are in town of Canada, which that little portion, that's not, so we would bring it up to the back end, to the side.
I would also refer you to the sidewalk envisionment plan that we adopted earlier this year. There road is an area needing a sidewalk as well.
Because it's all me.
And then the
if you build it, I think they will come as
Yeah,
well.
it's-
That's part of it as well.
Having walked North Road myself, it's unsafe right
Yeah.
now to be walking there.
But it is one of those generous shoulders.
But I feel
Yeah.
that, you know, it's not welcoming to pedestrians at this point. So with that lack of welcome to pedestrians and that unsafe feel that you have right now, that's not gonna encourage any current pedestrian traffic like a sidewalk would as well, so.
And to answer your question about, you know, if there isn't the studies, the information we have of sidewalks, you're 100% right, is anecdotal.
Mhm.
It's hearing from people, hearing from the schools and hearing from others. So you're right, we don't have a hard number on on traffic like we might for a vehicle. We've got to go based on, and we haven't set up a camera to kind of look and see, but you know, based on what we're hearing and the feedback we get and what you know, professionals have kind of pointed out as this is an area of concern. The money part, I totally get that, because we've wrestled with this. We've wrestled with this for years. And it's keep putting it off, trying to find other sources of funding and trying to make it work, but if you break it down, that $6 million project, how much would you say is that
It's
road?
about, the sidewalks are right around 700,000.
So of a $6 million project, 5.3 is all the other stuff under, you know, the road stuff that needs to be done, or it's gonna just crumble. And then about 7 is the sidewalk area.
I'd like to save money on the curbs too, because I don't
Yeah.
want those either. but-
Right,
Well, around the curb is allowed us to, because we're maxing out the right of way. By the time we're done, we'll be edge to edge, because to move the utilities would be a whole nother undertaking and cost. So that's why we're moving the road 4 feet to the north, we'll say. Your side, yes. You know, to make that,
It'll
basically,
be faster down your driveway to get.
yeah.
remove the,
To that sidewalk.
That's much less to shovel.
We could give you naming rights, so you know.
Yeah.
That's another option.
And to reiterate Jared's point, maintenance of the sidewalk, like I know there's quite a few elderly people on that stretch of road, and
We're gonna wrestle with that. There's no question about
Yeah.
it. That is just one of the sidewalks that we're talking
Yeah.
about. What do we do? Right now, we don't do anything. So we have to figure out what we're gonna do.
I was, you know, when we purchased the property, I was joyous that there was no sidewalk that I had to take care of. And now if you put one upon my property, then.
It would be on the other side, so you wouldn't have to take care of it.
I'm thinking about the other people now.
We are.
And that's, again, that's gonna be a wrestle, and we're gonna have to figure that out. About how to make that plowing work.
well, we can put the wing on it, just most people don't like it, but winging into their yard, so.
Yeah.
So it's
We
not
do what we
really,
gotta do.
um,
That's really it. There's gonna be more planning meetings regarding.
And so, the budget, we vote on the budget at our November meeting. If the budget passes and we approve it, then yes, we'll go into the planning meetings. Once we know that, yeah, we're gonna move forward with this. This is all preliminary right now. Once we know we're moving forward with it, we'll have community meetings. Like I indicated, we're probably gonna, because people don't check stuff, we'll end up walking on that dangerous road. And give it, you know, make sure each resident has a paper invite to the meeting to get input. We'll have it, you know, maybe at the church or maybe at the high school, someplace convenient, so we can at least get that laid out. As that lays out, there'll be a scope plan, a construction plan, the impact, that will all be presented to you ahead of time, so everybody, that'll all be very transparent. It's just this wasn't a plan a couple months ago, but then for further discussion, it was like, we really need to just bite the bullet. State money's not coming in. We failed on a grant. It didn't come in. So that's why we decided that we had to do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming in.
All that you do too.
Yep, thank you. Thanks for waiting.
Thanks for paying
Thanks for paying attention and waiting so long. Sorry it took so long. We've had worse.
Like you said, I could have done it at the beginning.
See, now you know for next.
All right, is there anyone else who would like to be heard at this time? All right, seeing no hands, I will entertain the motion to adjourn. I will give that to Terry and Dave.
Pretty fast.
And well, I heard Terry out of my left ear, it sound different. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, meeting's adjourned.